Yes, here we are for the final time of 2021, the last Wednesday of the year. Of course, it's noon Eastern time on a Wednesday, which means it's time for the High Noon Hemp Show. And here we are, live on video and video on demand, of course, on the Facebook page, the Hemptations Beach page, the General Hemp YouTube channel, and at Hemptations on Twitter. If you do not want to see us in all of our glory for whatever reason, it's up to you. Maybe you're working out. Maybe this is really when you really get the burn going, listen and talk about hemp and hemp products and stuff like that. So get you on your Peloton or whatever. That's fine as well. Check out Podbean, Google Play, iHeartRadio. Just search the High Noon Hemp Show for the audio podcast. I'm, of course, Darren Jesus. I do various things on the interwebs. He is the man himself, Beach, high above the Hemptations in Sharonville, Ohio, at the Hemp Quarters. Beach, how are things on this last Wednesday of 2021 in the land of Hemptations?
I suppose as far as things go, ready for 2022 to get here at this point.
Right.
It's true. Welcome, everyone, to, that's right, the last episode of 2021. What an interesting year it has been, that's for sure. Great follow-up year to 2020, in my opinion. So we'll see what 2022 brings us for the High Noon Hemp Show. It's true. I am Beach, and I am high above the Sharonville location at what we call the Hemp Quarters for the High Noon Hemp Show. It must be Wednesday. It must be noon. Here we are. Breaking it down. I got, got all kinds of stuff going on. That's for sure. We're going to finish the show with the kind of a, best of 2021 and some highlights from articles that and stuff that I talked about here on the High Noon Hemp Show. But I really feel like we're going to jump right into the products. Now, the product spotlight has changed a little bit these days because I call it 4 from the store, 1 from my door. But we're supposed to turn all that stuff off.
Broadcasting faux pas.
Hey, I tell you what, just got to get a hold of my technology here. Get a hold of your technology.
Rein it in.
So, the product spotlight was always 4 from the store, 1 from my door. And I've kind of changed that to add a little more. So now I'm, going online and finding cool stuff, products you can go and find online, trying to find stuff on sale. So let's get to the products from the store. I think that because Delta 8 was like one of the biggest subjects of 2021, most of our products from the store are Delta 8 in one form or another. This is our Delta 8 products, which are gummies and tincture. And so, if the gummies are probably the most popular form, one way or another. It is true. This next one is the D8 candy that we have. And I hate to, it sounds like I don't want to appeal to kids with this, that's for sure, because it does have Delta 8 in it. But it's a couple different chocolates, caramels, and then the peanut butter filled cups as well. So, good to bring the New Year's in with, some D8 candies. I feel like D8's probably going to be at a lot of New Year's Eve parties this year, for sure. We also have D8 flour, or I should say D8 in flour form, and they actually sprayed the D8 back onto what I believe is probably CBD flour, but we have a sativa and a indica and a hybrid, and then we have the moon rocks, which are, I don't know what that really means other than I think it's encoded with something else. Make it even better to get your D8. And then, of course, you can also get it in vape form or carts. And, these are your carts. And then we also do have some disposable D8 carts as well. But these are your typical screw into the battery vape cartridges. So there you have it. There's 4 from the store. Now, the one from my door, I mentioned I was going to have to show recently, is probably, I don't know. I didn't even take the time to try to figure out. There's probably 100 different hemp products or representation of hemp products in this picture. The big table in the middle ish is kind of my hemp display. So when I go out to educate, I set that up. The table to the left, um, it just has a bunch of hemp products, including the skateboards in front there. The snowboard down there is hemp. The box where the flag, I just noticed the flag, which is made out of hemp, it's hanging off I should say, the United States flag. There's a lot of flags
Yeah.
in this picture, I should say. But the United States of American flag is kind of falling there, I've noticed. So I have to put that back up. But that box is actually made out of hemp. That's where I used to take pictures when I was listing more stuff online and doing stuff like that. My little photo box there. And so, going out 2021, showing you guys with a bang. And again, that's just one corner of my room, of a room. And again, this is mostly display stuff and products that have existed in the past and whatnot. But technically speaking, from my door, it is true. Now, we all know how much I love my composites. I do love my hemp composite. This company here, the find of the week, I'm going to call it, is their company is Hemp 3D. You go to hemp3d.com. They have, I'm going to guess, somewhere in approximately about 10 different sunglass frames on their website where you can choose multiple different color lenses. Anywhere from, I think, mid 20s to maybe up to $50. But a lot of them were on sale. Now, they also have some other like super cool products that I love. This next picture, and again, a lot of this stuff you'll notice if you look closely is on sale. The top right there corner is a soap dish, which I just love that idea. The other two pieces are just like sculptures, more or less, but they're pyramids and they're kind of open. And then they have earrings, which is kind of neat. They have like a flame earring, just kind of a hemp leaf looking one, and then the teardrop water, I think it is, kind of in there. But the next one's really cool. If you're a chess player, I think, and I'm definitely gonna probably have to figure out how to get one of these. They have a chessboard, and again, it's not even that expensive in my opinion for a hemp composite chessboard. They also have a tray there. You can see they've got some hemp composite coasters, like a pen and card and a card holder. I mean, again, this is some really cool stuff that they're doing over at Hemp 3D. And again, I did not even show you pictures of their sunglasses. They have a whole page of different styles and frames, including what I would call the Fat Elvis style. I guess you really kind of, I don't know, you have to know what Fat Elvis, but then the sunglasses that he wore, or the glasses, because I really am not even sure if they were sunglasses. I think they might have even just been regular glasses. But they're kind of big square and then have big wide arms on them. I don't know. To me, I don't know why I think of those when I see these typical style of sunglasses. Why I think of Fat Elvis. And I'm not belittling Elvis in any way. Later in life, he got heavy, and that's what they refer to those years as the Fat Elvis years. That's just pop culture. that's just pop culture. We didn't go through Graceland, but I am sure that I'm sure they don't ever call him Fat Elvis in Graceland.
I have a Fat Elvis wing.
Oh shoot! But you can get you can choose a rose-colored lens if you feel like you need that as well.
Yeah.
Which was also an old school. I'm sure no one says that anymore. You're looking at things through a rose-colored lens, which was meant like You're not looking at them correctly in old school wordage. Oh my gosh. The etymology of phrases we need to find out now. Um, and so there you have it. There is the product spotlight, 4 from the store, 1 from my door, and more, which was hemp 3D sunglasses and more. And again, a lot of their products are on sale right now. So go check that out.
Of course,
Oh,
bring
show.
away you youngins out there. You can go Google or whatever, Fat Elvis. Take a little trip down memory lane. Maybe on YouTube too. I don't know. There's probably a bunch of videos of come up. I have no idea. That, of course, brings us
I don't doubt it.
the most important segment of the entire show. All of them are important, but one stands above all else. And that is, of course, the beachwear segment, where I ask Beach a very important question, and he gives me an answer both by speaking and by showing exactly what he's wearing. 2 things at once. Technology is amazing. Beach, what are you wearing today?
That's right. If you are curious, what are you wearing, Beach? Um, this is it. It's green, and what's the real phenomenon? Of course, on top there, I've got my grassroots. It's got the chemical components for THC on this particular grassroots hat. But the jacket I have never worn, and I cannot believe that I do not wear this jacket more. This is actually a Nike prototype jacket. Okay, and it's actually was part of, or they were thinking about doing it. I don't know if this line exists anymore, but it was called the Peace line. I should have taken a close-up picture, but it says Nike on it, and then right under Nike in green letters it says Peace, like, and that's the line.
Hmm.
You know, they've got the SB line, they've got Air Jordan. The Air Jordan is literally a line of Nikes. Okay, and whatever. But this jacket was actually a part of, or a prototype for, the Nike Peace line, and the hemp is in the stripes. Um, and now I'm gonna have to go back and do some research and see if I can find out. I've had this jacket for a decent amount of time, and I don't know how long it had existed before I bought it, because I think I got it on eBay brand new. Again, just it was an incredible find at the time, and it was tucked back in a closet that I just found, and I just can't believe it.
Wow.
And so, anyway, we'll move on. More about Nike later in the news. Anyway, I've got my Absolute Hemp uh, T-shirt, and this was printed by Crop Circle, who did a lot of hemp T-shirts and shorts. I have Crop Circle shorts from back in the day. Another hemp company manufacturer, hemp clothing manufacturer that I don't know if they exist anymore, but if they do, go find Crop Circle clothing. My jeans are Dash Hemp, and Dash Hemp does still exist. I'm almost positive you can go to dashhemp.com and shop for clothing there. I hope so. They have been around forever. We used to sell a decent amount of Dash Hemp clothing. I haven't gotten any in for quite a while. But they're a nice 100% hemp jean. As always, my Green Spring Technology pen right there hanging out of my pocket, which is usually tucked into my pocket if you see me on the street. It's inside. Hemptopia boxer briefs, along with some Satori cantileves. I've been wearing a lot of those recently. I'm pretty sure those are Satori as well. And then a pair of Adidas hemp sneakers, also originally probably for indoor soccer. Those are hemp Adidas were, but I've had those for a while. Those were one of the pairs. It came with 2 different sets of, I think it had white shoelaces, and then it also had these like really bright green shoelaces, which I put in there to wear, draw attention to my hemp shoes.
That's right.
So, to take away from the face itself. Don't look at the face. Just look at the clothes. The clothes. So there you have it. If you were wondering, what are you wearing, Beach? Now you know. On this fine last Wednesday of 2021, as it is. All right. Well, let's get on to what's going on. There's quite a bit going on out there, of course. Here is. This first pick is the process of them laying down the walls Well, okay, we can go right to the Nike Air Max. That's fine. Talking about the hemp. Um, they are re-releasing. Nike is re-releasing this Air Max One, and it's called the Air Max One Crepe. Now, they originally released these in 2004, and I have a pair that I'm not sure I can wear anymore because, if nothing else, the glues that held the soles to the bottom of them broke down. I might be able to fix them. I don't know, but I have a original pair. It doesn't have the same blue swoosh, and I do believe they're making this in a couple different combinations. Mine just has a plain brown swoosh, so to speak. Um, but 2022, they're going to release these, so we'll see. I'll probably stand in line online so that I won't get a pair from shoe scalpers who are going to turn around and list them on eBay for $500. Um, but if anybody else wants to stand in line for me, then I will reimburse you the cost. I'm an 11 and a half.
There you go.
Um, okay, so let's see. See if we can bring up the picture of the printing of the hat. No, okay, we'll go right to the.
That's the next one.
I know these are all out of order. This is a Chinese farmer who grows about 600 hectares a year of hemp. Okay, makes $1,500 a hectare, if anyone's wondering, which is more. They compared it to the other ones, much more than the other. But this is what I think is most interesting about it, is that he sells the stalks to a textile factory. He sells the leaves to pharmaceutical companies, and he sells the seeds to food companies. Now, originally, before CBD was legal here and being grown and made here, we were getting our CBD from China. So, I would only hope, and I think they were actually doing, what they used to call a whole plant press, and then maybe they moved to just pressing the oils out of the leaves to get CBD, which, they no longer need to do because we don't need to buy any CBD from China, that's for sure. That's one thing we don't need from China is CBD because we have plenty here. But I'm guessing that's kind of what they were doing over there. And so, we don't. I mean, unless you go to China and tour some of this stuff, it's hard to get some information out of China about anything. This hemp farm is located close to Russia, which makes sense. Again, there is a lot of hemp that's always been grown. I think the upper part of China, um, Russia, Ukraine, and again, that all kind of came out of the Fertile Crescent and kind of went up, I believe, and over as well. And so, this guy's making 1,500 an acre, or a hectare. I'm sorry, a hectare. And so, I think that's pretty good money. And once again, that's a triple crop. So you got your seeds, your fiber, and your leaves, which is a unique combination in there. I'm sure they use that stalk for something. They break it down to that what we call the shiv the herd, what we use in the hempcrete. Soon to be in animal bedding. All animal bedding that comes from China soon, because that's got to be something left over when they break the fiber open. And again, looking at that, that's probably, I'm going to estimate, an 8 to 10 foot plant. So that's a good length of fiber. I think if anything, be interesting to see just how much seed production is in that, because those, that whole flower on top there would be full of seed. So there you go, folks. If you want to farm it, there's all kinds of different means. Now, of course, here there's no market for leaves to sell to the pharmaceutical companies, but I do believe if it was industrial hemp, there is a possible market for the fresh greens, if they're fresh when you took them off the plant somehow. So, that's another way to do it. Minnesota. We'll skip some picks here for a minute. We'll come back to those. Minnesota is bringing 2022 in with a CBD ban. Now, I did report recently that I think they had one of the states that had come up with a smoking ban on CBD. Now they're coming up with I believe it's just a total ban on anything CBD because of their THC laws, Delta 9 THC laws. And so there's some serious confusion going on in Minnesota as to what's what, I believe. So, and I know it's at least affecting the food and drinks, if not all of the CBD businesses in Minnesota, possibly. So we'll see how that plays out. I am sure that there will be some court issues or something hopefully worked out there. So it's not fair to the over-the-counter CBD sellers to take away any of their products, especially the smoking or whatever. It doesn't matter whether it's the flower or anything. What's funny is they had mentioned something about how it was federally illegal. Like they were kind of lumping it in with THC. They mentioned CBD and they said, oh, they're illegal in the state and federally, which is 100% not true when talking about CBD. It's extracted from industrial hemp. And so I think even the Minnesota government is trying to do some shady stuff by how they're wording things to put this ban into effect, so to speak, in Minnesota. So fight for that. If you're in Minnesota, we'll see what happens when it actually goes into effect one way or another. In an article, what's the difference between CBN and CBD? The most interesting thing that was in the article to me, and again, we're seeing CBN. We're finding results that put it more on the sleepy side of things. We're still kind of working that out right now as far as how CBN can really be used. But what I learned was it was the first phytocannabinoid isolated from cannabis in the 1930s. CBN. So it started. It started it all, and obviously they found that it didn't get you high in whatever tests they were doing or whatever. So they just kept going because I don't know where this was. I thought the phytocannabinoids were being isolated over in Europe originally, and so now I would guess if it was the 30s, it would have been here because cannabis, it wasn't made illegal to do that research until 1937. And I bet the scientists were still messing with it until maybe the 40s as far as finding the isolates. I mean, I suppose that is exactly how, we ended up knowing about THC. I would say shortly after that. I don't know that timeline for sure as probably well as I should at this point, because I didn't know that CBN was actually the first. They call it a phytocannabinoid, a cannabinoid that was isolated. So very, very interesting. Very, very interesting there. Let's see here. The UAE, of course, the United American, I forget, Emirates something. I think
Arab Emirates, I think.
There you go. I think this will help, and I think this is happening because of the young coach that was arrested in Dubai for having CBD, and I think it was a vape, originally 30 years he was sentenced to. Now I think they just dropped it to 10. Hopefully with the changing of this law, I don't know if it'll change anything for him because this is a very unique law. because as the law states, food or drink or medicine containing CBD or small amounts of THC will be destroyed with no charges. Okay, so you can have them on you, and you can only hope that no one discovers them. But if they discover, and again, they're clear that this is basically CBD because small amount, they're probably talking about the tiny amounts of THC. Food, drink, or medicine containing CBD. They're going to destroy it. You get to walk away. Okay, don't do it again because you get in big trouble. And don't have your CBD or small amounts of THC in a vape product, because if they're in the vape product, you will be prosecuted. And I don't know how people can sit in a room and like think these things out. You know, it's the exact same thing. Okay, it's the CBD in a vape pen. Exact same thing. CBD in a vape pen. A CBD in a brownie, or CBD in a can of soda, or whatever. In a pill, capsule, CBD is medicine. Exact same CBD. But if it's in vape form, you go to jail. If it's in any other form, they're going to take it, they're going to destroy it, they're going to say, don't let us find you again with this stuff, or you get in trouble this time. But at least you get to walk away. You get to walk away.
Yeah.
You know, and, you know, so my recommendation would be to travel with CBD capsules and a bottle of multivitamins. And then, you know, who would ever question that? Honestly, the way this sounds. Or make your own food and take it with you. But even then, you know, they're going to, customs are going to be like, did you bring any food with you? And you're going to be like, I got 24 cookies. My favorite cookies in the world. I can't go anywhere without them. But anyway, and so crazy again. It's a great move forward to recognize, obviously, how worldwide of a use these CBD is. You know, it's great to recognize that they don't want to lock up every other tourist if they find every other tourist with CBD. But again, you know, I mean, once again, always do your research to the country you're traveling to find out exactly what their stance and laws are. That's
Absolutely.
for sure. We're never traveling with cannabis, period. Even if, you know, you think it's 100% legal. You know, so, but again, it's a good move forward, I suppose. But they still need to work on their, you know, and again, this is an agricultural crop, and there aren't a whole lot of agricultural crops, so it's not like they're going to change the laws because they want to grow cannabis for CBD. They don't. They're just not educated enough to not to, you know, once again lump it in with everything else like the ignorant do. And so I won't be ever traveling to the UAE.
Yeah.
But they probably pull me off the plane just for calling them ignorant on this show.
Hey, at least I'll be watching.
Yeah, it's not a whole lot of civil rights still. You know, and again, I think this law was based for tourists, not for residents. It could be, the laws could be totally different for residents, I would say. I mean, it could be the same for residents, but once again, you get one chance. You get one chance. And then after that chance, then you can no longer ever be caught with CBD on you again. Anyway, Texas, we know that they like to ban stuff, and then it gets reversed. That happened already with Delta 8. There is now a official Supreme Court. The Supreme Court in Texas has taken this on, but they're going to try to overturn the ban on smoking hemp again. Same CBD that you put in any other form in the flower shouldn't be illegal if it's legal for me to have CBD in this form in any other form. These things they're going to, until states start paying attention to other states that have done this and then been challenged and then lost. States are going to continue to do these stupid things. So hopefully the Supreme Court does the right thing in Texas and overturns the ban on smoking industrial hemp flower. We'll see. We will see. What's the next picture on our list of pictures? I'll just go from there. Hey, there it is. I was really excited about this. This is being touted as the first 3D printed hemp house in the United States. Okay, and this house is being lived in by the owner who built it, along with the whole bunch of collaboration of people, I should say. But here they are laying the hemp foundation, I suppose. Okay. And here is the finished product. Again, 1,300 square foot hemp house was 3D printed. I think I saw that it only took 28 hours total.
Wow.
To print. And again, they I think I don't know if Habitat for Humanity actually had something to do with it or what. But there was, again, it's just like, it's unbelievable. Now, all in all, what they were saying, and I don't know if because this was the first one, if there was something going on with how it was financed, or whatnot. I believe I saw in the article that this house would maybe cost you anywhere between $250,000 and $300,000, which is quite a pretty penny for a 1,300 square foot house.
Yeah,
I have to say, that's what I mean. You can get a lot less for a lot more, because even a $300,000 house here is just crap. It's all it's still prefabbed for the most part, and they're just big. There's nothing special. With this, you get the benefits of hempcrete, which is immense compared to the other benefits. It's flame retardant, it's antimicrobial, antibacterial. It's as I always like to say, no matter what hemp product you're looking at, it's the good antis. And so this is kind of interesting. It was, again, Williamsburg, Virginia, of all places. Sometimes you just never know. Why Williamsburg, Virginia, which is interesting. And so I just found this before the show, so I'm gonna do a little bit more research on this 3D printed house, and I'll maybe have more for you next year on the 3D printed house. But that's just an amazing process. Watch this big arm just go across and make that, make those little walls for what was, I think, the base of the foundation. And then I can just assume it just went on and on and on and on and on for apparently 28 hours until it got to the top wall. Because, I think, that's all it's really building structurally is walls. I don't know if that means they poured the foundation out of hemp, because it's not supposed to be load bearing, but, maybe this process allows it to, because it's been tested and it's proven. But if nothing else, it'd be foundation, walls, and that would be it. Then they'd build everything else on top of that. And so, I suppose all in all, it's just filling the machine and letting it go. As long it went, though. So quite interesting. Very cool to watch. As it is. So 3D hemp houses coming to a neighborhood hopefully soon near you. All right, now I got to get back on track. So we did that. Now I got to go back to there and here. Oh, here, how about this little bit of hemp history? Ben Franklin, famous. Now, I knew that Ben Franklin used hemp paper in his uh, printing press. He had a Ben Franklin press or something like that. Franklin press, I forget what it was. And so, at some point or another, I'm pretty sure. But how did I not know? How did I not know that his famous kite experiment used hemp? That's right. The famous. Now, of course, I know Ben Franklin did not invent electricity. Electricity was being used in the world before his kite experiment. I think what his experiment really did was prove electrical conductivity, and not just the air, but lightning. His kite, the kite itself, was made from silk. He used silk so it would stay dry in the storm. The rope that attached to the key was made of hemp. He used hemp so it would get wet and conduct electricity. So, a major part of that whole experiment was the hemp rope, because he first noticed the hairs on the hemp rope stand up.
Wow.
And this was just in an ambient storm. So the kite is flying in a storm, which is, again, when you think about that, it seems quite difficult. But the kite is flying in a storm. He's holding the hemp where the key is attached. Okay. There's no lightning, but the hairs on the hemp rope, which is wet, are starting to stand up, and then boom, he gets a shock. That's crazy. That's crazy. That's how the experiment went originally. I mean, we're all, you can't be educated in the public school system, I don't think, without learning the miracle of Ben Franklin and electricity and his kite. And I think it is less taught because they used to teach it as him, like, again, him inventing electricity, so to speak,
Yeah.
which really was not the case. Again, he was learning the conductivity of electricity, was just part of that experiment. Using good old hemp rope. Once again, history wouldn't happen without hemp. Look, there's another piece of history that may have never happened without hemp. I don't know. Correlation, causation. But super cool part of history, and we'll definitely be moving to the top of my list of fun facts when it comes to educating people. That's for sure. In an article, the top 10 superfoods of 2022 have been officially announced. It was followed, that's the title of the article. It was followed by hemp seeds are about to have their moment. And I really think this is kind of the second time, in all honesty, that hemp seed's going to have their moment, because hemp seed had their moment 10 or 15 years ago. And then they became, just so prevalent that they were in everything and everywhere that, they're just in everything and everywhere. Well, they're back, and they're going to be back. And I think that has a lot to do with industrial hemp being legal here. Even more of the stigma against hemp or cannabis in that form is gone because of industrial hemp being legal here. Even though, once again, the majority is still being grown for CBD, but those numbers are going down. And the chart's starting to not get too balanced. Trust me, don't get me wrong. But the fact that it's legal to grow industrial hemp for food in the United States is going to open that market again. Much like when we had to sue the DEA, and when we won against the DEA, saying we didn't have to put 100%, 0%, I should say 0.0% THC in the hemp food labeling. That was when the gates kind of opened up, and now it's just kind of honestly kind of status quo. And we're still educating a lot of people on it, and but I think that education is going to get a boost now that we can grow industrial hemp for grain, for food products in the United States, and so I think it is going to get its second coming of the new millennium, so to speak. The first was back at the turn of the century when we sued the DEA. See, kids. So I think hemp food is now gonna see its next little rise in use and popularity, as well it should. Everybody should be eating it. Everyone should be eating hemp food and adding it to the diet. It's just a good food for you. Here's another fun article: 9 crazy benefits of hemp fabric. Natural. Okay, so that's the name. That's the article. Naturally pest resistant, as I was, anti-pest, so to speak. Another good anti. It's durable and stronger, which is actually, I'm glad they put that together, because that's, but the longer lasting obviously comes with the durable and stronger, which is cool, because that's why it lasts longer, is because it is more durable and stronger than any other natural fiber. It is all natural, a big part of it. It's actually organic by nature, because it does not require any herbicides or pesticides when being grown for the fiber. And so, but again, organic is a standard of soil. It is highly absorbent and breathable. It's true. It is highly absorbent and breathable. It doesn't smell. And again, that's because which is, if we skip ahead, antimicrobial, which is also on the list, and antibacterial, and all those things. And so it is sustainable and renewable, which is also the same as it has a minimal environmental damage. So it's really 8 crazy benefits, possibly. But anyway, yes, it is sustainable and renewable, because you can make just about anything out of it. It only takes 5 to 6 months to mature. It comes back every year if you want it to. That's for sure. And that does take down on that minimal environmental damage, which kind of goes along with it being all natural or organic by nature when grown for the fiber. And so, yes, more fiber, please. I think I have a picture of the next 2 items, which will close the news segment. This one here is the simple recipe for hempcrete plaster, and it is pretty simple, when you look at it, because it's just 2 buckets of hydraulic lime, 3 buckets of water, and 4 buckets of hemp. And again, that hemp is the little chip, shiv, herd, whatever you want to call it. You just throw that in there with the mix, and boom, stir it up until it's the right consistency. Pour it in whatever form you wish to pour it in, and you've got yourself some hempcrete plaster. So once again, 2 buckets of hydraulic lime, 3 buckets of water, and 4 buckets of hemp. I can't believe it's so simple, and I'm just now learning. So, and I'm sure there's probably some waiver there, honestly, one way or another. And, like most concrete mixes, in all honesty, crete mixes, you put your water in a little bit at a time, because then If you pour all 2 buckets in and that makes it a little bit too watery, then you have to add a little bit more lime, and you got to add a little bit more hemp. But if you just put it in, slowly and kind of mix it up, then you can get that consistency and not overwater, I suppose. Either way. So that's just what I remember from mixing Crete when I was a child to pour my basketball platform at our farmhouse. Because I have done that. I've almost done everything at least once, seems like. All right. Well, this last little thing that I found here is super cool. I suppose, especially if you're a Kentucky fan, which I am. But this is from 1916, supposedly, and this is supposed to be hemp rope. And again, it is stamped with the University of Kentucky's logo on there. I don't know how authentic this is. This was actually on eBay. This is what I would call my crazy hemp find of the week, if anything, because they have it listed for $500 and something. Again, you gotta either have graduated in 1916 and remember making one of those your senior year crafts class at the University of Kentucky. Or you think that hemp rope's worth a lot more than it really is on the open market. As Hermes said on Futurama, oh, yeah, between me and Thomas Jefferson, we've smoked a lot of hemp rope. Anyway. Oh, shoot. But that was kind of my fun find of the week. Is this 1916 University of Kentucky mug wrapped with hemp rope. So find that on eBay if you've got an extra $500 and something and you really, really want to put that in your collection.
Yeah.
I'm gonna hold off on adding that one to my hemp collection. Gives me a great idea to maybe make one.
Yeah.
Possibly. Take an old broken mug, possibly, and then weave the hemp on to the opposite side of the broken handle and make a new handle. Hey, how about that? A replacement handle for a broken mug made out of hemp. That's not a bad idea. There you have it for the news part of the High Noon Hemp Show. We have a little bit of events, not too many, really. December 31st in Brooklyn, coming up here, New Year's Eve, another Sip, Smoke, and Paint. So if you're in Brooklyn, you want to go do that, look it up. January 4th, we have the Medical Marijuana Meetup right here in Cincinnati at the Mad Tree. And so that is next Tuesday. I will be there. I should be there. I am usually there. If you'd like to ask me any questions in person on hemp, CBD, or any of those things, it's usually a really great group of people, that's for sure. Again, that's next Tuesday, January 4th, the Medical Marijuana Meetup. And again, I go because I represent the CBD and the industrial hemp side of things for the event. January 19th, you've got Hemp Past and Future at the Cornerstone Building in Franklin, Kentucky. That sounds kind of interesting. And then January 21st through the 22nd, you have the Midwest iHemp Expo in Lansing, at the Lansing Center in Lansing, Michigan. And then just added February 12th, Hemp Today, Growing and Marketing Industrial Hemp. And this is at the McHenry County College at Crystal Lake, Illinois. Crystal Lake, Illinois. Now, Crystal Lake, isn't that where the horror movies took place?
I believe so.
I think for the second time.
Camp Crystal Lake, yeah.
Okay, so maybe I might have seen something about Crystal Lake before because I remember talking about that recently. And so you got that. And then at the end of February, this is a virtual event, the 4th Annual Industrial Hemp Summit goes virtual. Okay. Honestly, I don't have too many top stories to talk about. I think that one of the stories I remember in 2021 that I thought was pretty interesting and kind of got brushed over with all the others is that CBD was proven to help with the main side effects of COVID. And again, which is the exact same thing that Happy New Year to you, Amy Paul. That was the exact same thing that the vaccines are supposed to do, honestly, is actually make us more immune to the worst side effects of COVID. And CBD, and it was actually, I believe, it was kind of weird because I think that was the one that came out of the dental school. I didn't go back to look, but it was weird who found it out. But again, CBD proven to help with the worst side effects of COVID. Um, they don't want you to know that. They want you to get the vaccine. And I'm not saying don't get the vaccine. Do it all. We got the vaccines and we got it. So our side effects weren't bad. So we didn't need any CBD any more than I usually use, I suppose. And maybe that helped too. But, it's hard to say. I think the biggest story of 2021 was Delta 8. In all honesty, and something that we had barely heard of in 2020 became probably one of the largest CBD markets or industrial hemp markets. Again, because the Delta 8 is extracted or made from the CBD flower in some whatever way it is. And again, so perfectly legal. But because it has minor side effects, there's, most of our customers, they feel a little bit, they know that they've taken it. All of a sudden the government's, and it was more of a state issue, even though I shouldn't say that. The DEA tried to say Delta 8 was illegal. And again, they weren't lying because they were once again talking about Delta 8 from Delta 9 cannabis, not CBD cannabis or industrial hemp, so to speak. They immediately got checked. It clearly says in the last Farm Bill 2018, clearly says any extractions, anything from the root to the top of the plant and anything that we want to do with it in between is legal. And so the DEA backed off on their stance. We never heard anything else from them again. What we did hear was a lot from a lot of the states, that including Kentucky. And I think that's still going on. That's still an issue going on in Kentucky. Texas was the one I talked about them earlier. Made it illegal, and then that ban was made illegal, so to speak, turned over. And I know that there are many other states, and I should do a little bit of research to find out. But there are many other states that I believe have attempted to or have made Delta 8 illegal. And again, Delta 8 was just, again, because it was just a little bit of feeling, just a little bit of whatever, made to be a big deal. But we really also kind of discovered or brought to the front for CBN, which I was talking about earlier, and CBG, which is another one that we're seeing pop up in conversation quite a bit. Delta 8 again was at the top of the list because Delta 8 was the one that was making all the news. But I come across just as many articles on the benefits or why is CBG good for, why is CBN, and so it too is, as we get more feedback from customers or people and or get feedback on studies. Now CBG flower we can grow in high enough concentrates to just get the CBG from the flower. Now CBN, I think CBN is the same as Delta 8, it's got to be extracted. I have not seen any actual CBN flower that didn't have anything added to it. And so, it's a whole concentration thing. How much is actually concentrated in the flower itself, to what they can get out of it, from my understanding. Well, I mean, that's the way science works, one way or another. And then again, I think the last big article or that I talked about, or the last big subject that I talked about, was California legalizing CBD in food and drinks. That was a huge A for all Californians in the CBD industry, but the CBD industry, even across the country. Um, you know, I think they were now there may be some other states, and I'll have to look into this too. I don't know if there's any other states that say you can't have CBD in your food or drinks by law. Um, and, because if not, that really helped out a lot of the industry, period. I can't even imagine like the amount of CBD that was made into those products. I don't know if it was still legal to make them in California and then ship them out, which just seems absurd. Or did that CBD flower, which was legal, have to get shipped somewhere else and then made into these, so, and the reason they did it is because they were waiting for the FDA, and the FDA still is sitting on their hands. We'll see what the new FDA guy does in the first 6 months of his administration, so to speak. Let's see if we don't get a CBD ruling, hopefully from the FDA officially, to make it safe to add to food and beverages, actually to be labeled and have nutritional facts, if any, and blah blah blah. And so, that hopefully that'll be some of the big news of 2022. As of right now, in 2021, no, FDA not so much. But California changing their laws officially was big, one way or another. The other biggest, there were two other, I think the construction was a huge subject this year for me on the show. It just seemed like every other week, if not every week, we were showing somebody that was building something with hempcrete or using hempcrete in this form to build this or whatever it may be, which again is becoming huge worldwide, not just in the United States, but I think, and again, it's not as worldwide. It's getting more worldwide, but it's always been worldwide. Again, we're still kind of catching on. That's for sure. And then I think the clothing industry. I think that was another thing that this year I was really excited about, was reporting more and more large scale production of hemp fiber in clothing. And again, the whole reason we started this whole Hemptations thing was to stop growing cotton on this planet. Stop growing cotton on this planet. Unless it's organic, it's awful. And so, to see more and more big names or major production, whether it was a big name or we'd never heard of the company before, someone, putting out a big production of hemp clothing, is great. Hopefully in 2022, what I'd like to see are some super cheap hemp t-shirts. That's on my list. We used to have them years ago and it was a blend, but Hemptown had a really decently inexpensive hemp t-shirt. But I'm hoping maybe, we can start bringing that down. And again, the t-shirts that we get now that are hemp are like super quality, and if you're going to spend more, then of course this t-shirt's not going to wear out in a year. I mean, I haven't worn out actually any of my shirts. I haven't worn them out, like gotten big holes. Now little holes have popped up, and I think sometimes that's just because of weave or whatever. But and even then, very rarely. If some of you may or may not know, I am the world record holder of wearing a different hemp shirt every day for what I believe was 168 days, if I remember correctly. A different hemp shirt every day. Okay, for 168 shirts. Out of those 168 shirts, which could have been anywhere between 25 and 1 year or 2 years old, none of them have any holes in them. And so, um, that is what it is. Now I did wear one the other day, and I did notice a hole in it. But again, I would say I probably have 200, at least 200 shirts. I bet and again, there are a couple. I mean, so maybe 10 of those 200. 5%, is that 5%? Maybe have acquired holes over the years of wearing. That's again, it's to me that's pretty good. 95% of the shirts I own, which could be once again anywhere between 25 and a couple years old, have stayed together and are still nice. And again, the only ones that have changed in any way for the most part are the ones that were faded. Some of my because back in the day they used to use more better more better dyes. They faded quite easy, which was okay, honestly, because that's better for the planet as well. So those were the big things. I think in 2021 we'll be back. That was one of the longer shows again. Look at me go. Mm-hmm. Bidding you farewell in 2021. And we can't wait to see you in 2022. And remember, reduce, reuse, recycle. Make everything else out of hemp. Having temptations.
See you all next year.